It is now a thing of collective concern that we need to keep ourselves safe, right, and secured anywhere we are. As getting information and getting informed now is a necessity and not just, something you want to choose, a choice, because you need to know your surroundings. Like America would say, you see something, you say something, all right? So you see something, you say something to keep yourself safe and secured, right? And even with this weather, which sometimes even predictions that had revealed to us that we will be experiencing, more rains in coming weeks. We would experience this almost like till September this year. So let's brace up ourselves and keep ourselves warm and safe at every point in time. On that note, I welcome you to today's edition of Trends on the Papers on Mela 98.3 FM, right? A segment in the Morning Express where we make sure your morning is a very bright and an more interesting one. It's just like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea for you, right? While you are facing and paying attention to all of other activities in the morning. We want to take you through what's going on in our dailies. We want to let you know, keep you updated and abreast of happenings in our newspapers, and also we better understand these issues with analysis and with or by our in-house analysts. You'll be joining us shortly. Yes, and you can join us on Facebook and YouTube. We're streaming live there. If you want to enjoy an audio-visual engagement, you can join us live on Facebook and YouTube while you are going ahead with your daily activities. And you can also listen via Radio Garden and as well as our website, www.melandfm.com, www.melandfm.com. That's our website. It's just accessible and easy to use. So regardless of your location, anywhere you are, you can always tune in to every of the programs we have for you. My name is Tʀᴇɪᴅs. I'll be joined by Side Forward, and the other side we're helping us to holistically look at all of the issues that we have in our dailies. This morning, majorly the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard newspaper to see what's going on the front pages and also in the bellies of them all. Good morning, Side Forward.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing too?
Yeah, I'm good. Very good.
I think it should be a habit now. I mean, for the next few weeks or months to take a cup of coffee or tea in the morning.
Yeah, tea. I'm more of a tea person. I really don't do coffee, so
why?
I'm okay with
I don't do coffee. Don't be you sound.
No, I'm not. It's not to say people take coffee. I'm just saying that I'm not really a coffee person now. I'm okay with my normal tea, You know what they call the alagbada?
I don't know. I don't know. You've used agbada to prepare it.
The poor man's tea. And I'm okay. So far it's all time.
What do you mean by poor man's tea? What do you mean by poor man?
I'm telling you.
Is it not to mix beverages together, milk and all these things? And
tea past tea, like they say, so if you must know,
not necessarily the. Are you talking about the quality now?
Yes. Don't you know?
Okay, I don't know about that.
I don't do past you, So, but we poor men like this, we have a way of helping ourselves.
It's a virtue to be humble. I understand.
It's not about being humble. It's just the reality. You took a sachet of, of whatever beverage, chocolate beverage, and a little bit of milk, and then it's okay.
Okay, it's okay. Bottom line, either alagbada or nibuba. Just
nikaki.
Or adire, whichever one. Just keep yourself warm, because the rains are not smiling at all. Back in the days, we used to talk about 7 days, 14 days. This one is like 15 months. 15 months.
It's global warming, or what you call climate change.
And last year we didn't experience this last year, so it's like a comeback. You people, you think you escape?
Anyway,
all is well.
Nature has a way of taking a toll on us, and we always have to be prepared. So.
Right. All right, you're welcome on board side for it to Trends on the Pages.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, you're welcome as well if you're on the other side of the radio. Let's kickstart. Let's start from the buzzwords in our crude oil sector, right? Especially after the tension has been eased in the Middle East and the current crude oil price, had been reduced significantly, right, to almost the price we had before the war started. And we've been having talks and debates, arguments necessarily about the significant reduction as well. I mean, domestically, especially in Nigeria, and the marketers almost trying to threaten us about the fact that, well, it is our product, we can choose to sell the amount, we can sell it. But with the recent effort by the federal government, they had to call on the stakeholders to meet, right, involved in the stakeholders meeting, the Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority in Abuja, bringing together the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, also the Depot and Petroleum Product Retailers Association of Nigeria, the Depot and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, and other major operators, also officials of the NMDPRA, some marketers, oil marketers, and delegates from the Dangote refinery, right? And according to the independent petroleum marketers yesterday, they are at the end of the meeting pushing for the restoration of importation rights and projected that the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, could fall below 800 naira per litre. I mean, lesser than the amounts we used to buy before the Middle East crisis, as the federal government had, started the intensified effort to force down the cost of petrol, because the federal government had called them that, we have seen a reduction in the oil price, global oil price, then it should reflect, we should have a cost reflective price on the PMS locally in Nigeria. And so after the meeting, the IPMAN president also assured Nigerians that independent marketers were prepared, to slash petrol prices significantly, and also projected that pump prices could fall below 800 naira per litre under the right market conditions. And according to the Minister of Oil, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, that's oil, Senator Enokin, also said that the government, remained concerned that the current petrol prices were not reflective of the prevailing crude oil prices in the international market, that the justification they are trying to give is not matching up. I mean, it's almost about how many weeks now there should be a cost reflective price. And when he was asked about when exactly, because that's what an average Nigeria will be expecting, that when exactly will the change be, he said, well, intensive efforts are still ongoing and discussions are still ongoing. They might not necessarily be able to give a deadline, but it's as soon as possible. Side forward. That's the updates we have.
All right, Lady Mo. Again, this is what you would expect the government to do: step in for the people, especially when there are concerns about fair pricing. These kinds of, what you call pilfering, basically just taking advantage of the people. See, Lady Mo, I sent it to you. In fact, this morning, crude oil prices are at the exact stage they were before the war, before the U.S., Israel, and Iran war in February. There are two major types of crude oil that serve as benchmark for global pricing or for crude oil all over the world. So you have the Brent crude, which is the major one that you have been quoted every time we talk about crude oil prices. But there's also West Texas Intermediate, right?
Yeah,
WTI. Yes. So as at today, as at this morning, Brent crude is about $72 per barrel. And then, in fact, the Western Texas Intermediate, the WTI, is around $65 per barrel. right?
Right.
About $65 per barrel. Or 62, right? Is it
68.71.
Okay, 68. Okay.
Yes.
So, but these prices are the exact prices of crude oil all over the world before the war started in February this year. Now, we had a situation where, the war started, and of course, there was a supply shortfall because of the disruptions on the Strait of Hormuz. Again, you would expect that on a daily basis, if about 20 million barrels of crude oil could not come out from a particular place because of the needless war, definitely things were going to happen in terms of pricing. And so the prices started going up. I think it got to a peak of about $120 per barrel at some point.
Yeah.
And so for every time the prices were going up because of the disruption on the Strait of Hormuz, you had from Dangote, all of the stakeholders within the oil sector, from the upstream down to the midstream, downstream, kept adjusting. And the story at the pump price was, the war. So you had a situation where, anything happens, the price goes up, they pushed it up to the point where at some point we're buying at 1,400 naira per liter. Let's even work with petrol. Let's talk about diesel, aviation fuel, and what have you. Now, Lɪਧᴇ. At least God has helped us to intervene, and somehow, there's a relative peace in that axis. Crude oil prices have dropped back to the pre-war era. But look at what we are doing to ourselves, Lɪධᴇ. Between Dangote, the NNPC, the marketers, the regulators, there's almost like a criminal silence. And I call it criminal because what they are doing, all put together, is stealing from Nigerians. The fact that the midstream and the downstream sector have been deregulated is not a license for them to cheat or steal from Nigerians, Lɪධᴇ. When they are going to jack up prices, you will never hear them talking about old stock, Lɪධᴇ. They will never talk about old stock. It's always an immediate thing. But look at this. Again, when people think we just sit back and talk about the failures of government, we know that, look, the people in government are not aliens. We did not import them from Mars or from Pluto or from other planet. They are Nigerians, and the failure of government reflects, largely on the way we are also as a people. In the Holy Quran, there are parts of it that says that, look, your leaders are a clear reflection of who you are as a people. And so it's not just to sit back and say, the reality is that we also know that as a people, we should begin to ask ourselves about very pertinent questions. This Shylock nature, this greed, just, look, I said it the last time when we were having this conversation, Lɪධᴇ. Whether you call it the gantry price, you call it the depot price, the pump price, there is no justification for any of those prices to be over 1,000 naira at this time. I'm not giving exact, but look, whatever price you want to call it, at the level where crude prices are now, and it's been like that now for almost a month, Lɪධᴇ. It's been like that now for almost a month. So at that level that we have with crude oil prices, nobody can justify anything. And look at where we are now, what we are getting from the meeting. Now, I don't know the position of Dangote Refinery. I tried to read through the entire report to know what the official statement of the Dangote Refinery is on this matter. Because as it stands today, when it comes to petroleum products, they are still a major supplier of the product to the Nigerian market. So whatever they do has an overall effect on pricing. I'm still waiting to get an official statement from them as to why crude oil prices have gone to the pre-war era, yet it's not reflective on their own pricing. Because again, a lot of the marketers that we had spoken with independently have said that, look, go check the gantry price from Dangote Refinery. And that, look, it is whatever they buy that they will sell. So a lot of this blame still goes back to the pricing model that Dangote had adopted at this time. we don't even have the exact figures of the amount of petroleum products brought into the country by the marketer. But you can now see that IPMAN, independent marketers, are saying, you know what, if you want us to push this price below 800 naira per liter, give us the opportunity to also bring in our own product. Give us licenses, open it up completely. Let's also be able to bring this product.
So there will be a fair competition.
There'll be some level of competition.
And don't forget, you spoke about Dangote, right? Why they are, we're trying to get an official statement. Because I can remember when he was being interviewed, we still spoke about it when he talked about the only change we should be hoping for is when we have a de-escalation of the Middle East war.
Yeah, he talked about
categorically mentioned it, that there will be a relief when, the tension is eased.
Comes down. But then there's a de-escalation of the situation in the Middle East. We have not de-escalated our prices. the tension is still high, which is very, very unfortunate. And again, I appreciate that the federal government, almost belated anyway, but at least better late than never, have stepped in to save Nigerians from this Shylock arrangement, this greedy arrangement we have in the oil sector. I know we're one of the people that kept defending Dangote. I'm not saying all of the blame is on him. Again, that's why I'm saying that there is really no official statement from him yet. But with or without any official statement from him, I am saying that there can be no justification for the pricing model we have with petroleum products at this time. These prices have gone down. There's a de-escalation of the war. And that's why I decided to, as our last week, it was the same thing. That's why I decided that, look, let's even check it out. WTI, Brent crude, it's at the pre-war pricing era. Now, we have always defended Dangote, Ledimo, if you remember. In fact, at some point, he had even gone to court. To say, you know what, you can't keep giving licenses, that's even against the dictates of the PIA. Once we have the capacity to do our own refining locally, giving licenses against the spirit of blah, 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 blah. But where we did now, don't you think we should just open up everything? Because, look, you can't have a situation. And that's why I say, I'm surprised. Look, that's a company that is good at throwing out press releases. Before anything happens, they've been quiet on this, which is very unfortunate. And while we're trying to, be a bit modest about the way we present this issue and try to, I'm just saying that, look, Nigerians are being cheated. We are being cheated. And this is not even about government now. This is Nigerians to Nigeria. Nigerians to Nigeria. Which is very, very unfortunate. All over the world, people are already feeling the effect. Prices are dropping. Even in the US, where there are still questions, you can see that their president is telling them, you know what, these prices have to still come down. 20 naira today, 10 naira tomorrow, 15 naira tomorrow. But if they are going to jack up the prices, it's an instant thing. Nobody, so I don't know. Let's hope this government intervention will work. Let's see what happens before the week runs out. Again, the expectation from the facts available, at least the ones we can work with crude oil prices, by now prices should be well below 1,000 naira per liter, at least for PMS.
Right. We definitely hope so. Well, we are waiting. We can't actually. We are waiting, definitely. But speaking about inflation in prices of products and commodities, right? For the Guardian newspaper, because we're talking about pricing, I just quickly want us to talk about the cement, right? That despite Nigeria's local production capacity of over 60 million metric tons yearly, which is one of the highest on the continent, presently, the indigenous consumers still continue to pay one of the highest cement prices, almost twice the average in other countries, twice the average. And of course, the three dominated companies that produces that, with installed cement production capacity that is estimated to about 60 to 65 million metric tons per year, with new plants even coming on stream. The national capacity could even rise to about 85 million tons yearly in coming years, right? And actual domestic consumption is around 25 to 30 million tons per year. That's the consumption compared to the production capacity, which is about 60 to 65. And hopefully in coming months or years, we'll be having about 85 million tons. And the daily, yearly consumption is about 25 to 30 million tons per year. And meaning Nigeria produces more cement than it currently uses and exports the surplus to neighboring countries, right? But contrary, in other countries, for example, in South Africa, where the cement industry is competitive and supported by efficient logistics, a 50 kg bag of cement averages between 6,000 naira and 7,000 naira. In Egypt, which is one of the world's largest cement producers, prices could fall to the equivalent of about 4,000 naira to 5,000 naira per bag, largely due to surplus capacity and lower production costs. In Kenya and like that, if you want to get the data of that. But in Nigeria, where we have more than enough, a bag is about 50 kg, sells about 12,500 in some parts in Nigeria, in the country. Side forward. What exactly is happening here? Can you help us break it down?
Honestly, and I like the fact that, look, we are beginning to pay attention to what some of our people are doing. Now, again, this story it's again very good story from the Guardian newspaper. It basically just highlights what the bricks and mortar industry is dealing with prices of building materials. Now, we focus on cement, right? And that's the reason why, again, you have a lot of real estate developers struggling to deliver at this time. A lot of them are failed in their projections because nobody expected that, look, these galloping prices were going to be this severe. Now, Lydimo, if you look at the story very well, it tries to first look at the issue of demand and supply. What's our supply capacity? What is the demand level, right? And then it gives us an idea of the fact that, look, with the cement industry, you have three dominant industries, three dominant companies, Dangote, Bua, and Lafarge, right?
Yep.
Those are the three big players, especially for Nigeria. And with Dangote is the biggest of, taking about 50% of the share. The rest left, the remaining 50% left to the others. So what it means is that whatever Dangote does, it's going to shake the industry. If you have a player that can take over 50% of the share of the market, what it means is that he's going to set the template. Whatever he does is enough to disrupt pricing, disrupt whatever happens. If he decides to to disrupt the supply chain, everybody will have to follow whatever he does. So that's why sometimes in a competition, you might not necessarily have what they call perfect competition. I'm sure the economists listening to us know the names economists give to that kind of situation, where the competition appears to be real, but in reality, there's still a form of monopoly. You have different kinds of monopoly. They call it oligopoly, kinicopoly. They don't let us confuse. So now this is the situation. You saw that in the report they had gone to look at the prices in South Africa, in Kenya, and some other African countries. And looking at it in Naira terms, it is discovered that prices are far, far cheaper than what we have in Nigeria. As we speak today, an average bag of cement in Nigeria sells about 12,500, depending on where you are buying from. In some other areas, it could be up to about 13,000, 14,000 naira, right? But in some other African countries that were mentioned in that report, 7,500, 8,000,
4,
even some places you have it at 4,000,
Yes.
And so the report is saying that, look, these prices are like that because, again, there's enough production and the logistics is good. And that even in some instances, logistics are provided by government. There's a support from government and what have you. So, but the bottom line is that, look, we need to ask ourselves some very pertinent questions. Lady Mo, I remember clearly when this whole price madness started with cement in Nigeria. And I think if I can get my date correctly, It started around 2022 or 2023. I don't have a perfect date on my head now. Because at that time, I was helping a friend who is based in the UK to monitor a project. It's not just about 4 years ago or so. And I remember that we started the housing project, that project, buying cement, 1 bag of cement at 2,200. Lady Mo. I want people to pay attention to this thing. That was how it all started. We started that project. Because again, the entire house was completed in just about a year. So it was not as if, maybe there was a delay in the entire project. No. And we started 2,200, 1 bag of cement. 1,500 the day, like you give it to they add the extra 500. And then suddenly, as we're going on, I think about 2-3 months or 4 months after that we started the project, there was a supply disruption. Cement was not just available anywhere. Something just happened. We looked for cement everywhere, all suppliers. No, the cement are not coming out. What could have happened? The only explanation was that there were logistics issues, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to begin to mention names of companies, but at least we know the dominant players in the industry. Logistics. Because of that disruption, there was no meaningful explanation. We as a journalist, we try to find out from people that we have within the industry what could be going on. Major suppliers, I already knew there was a game plan. Something was going to happen. Lady Mo, the price immediately jumped to around 6,500, 7,000 naira. Are you following me?
Yes.
The price jumped immediately. What is going on? People started, it was a very chaotic situation, because how do you start a project with 2,200 cement? You are now already working towards 7,000. And so the thing started jumping. Look at where we are now. 3 years down the line, 3 to 4 years down the line. We are already, when the thing hit 10,000 naira, we thought that this would be the ceiling. We're just we are at 12,500 as at this morning, depending on where you are buying from. Sure, you know that is the way we will be here talking. There will be a day we will be talking like this and be saying a bag of cement is 20,000 naira in Nigeria.
God forbid.
That was the way we said, God forbid, that this thing will ever eat 10,000.
But for comparison to production, we just read about the demand and supply. I mean, we're literally producing more than what we even consume yearly. In
Nigeria, we turn economics on the head. The laws of demand and supply does not work in Nigeria. We have our own way of doing things. Every other thing works in other places. In our own place, not be the same thing. You know the way we define our own democracy. So we come here, and because there are no guardrails, there are no regulations. The people who are supposed to protect the people are also culpable. Or what you will, when talk about the war, like they say, and don't meet and. There's no way you're going to protect the people. Until today, who is helping to check? Because again, you talk about the regulation. We can't help to fix prices. But what about cost-effective pricing? What about fair pricing? Where is the Consumer Protection Agency to protect Nigerians from what appears to be obvious greed from these people? 12,500, really? And that's why you see that most of the construction sites have become inactive, right? Because how do people look? Because this is just one part of what you used to build a house.
Construction.
Go and check what has happened to the price of steel. What's it called? Go and check granite. Go and check sharp sand. Go and check the price of what's it called, plastering sand.
Housing is now luxurious. To rent an apartment is let alone to want to build.
So, and that's why you have this. Already we were in trouble with our housing deficit. Go and check. Nigeria has the highest housing deficit rate of housing deficit in the world. It's going to become more severe for the people. People are becoming more, because and unfortunately the government is not even building anything. That's just the reality. Don't be bothered about all this sloganeering about housing, kinikon. The maximum you hear the government building say they are building 5,000 housing units. Where and how? Without in any way even have any effect on the level of housing deficit we have in the country. So, see, we have highlighted these things, and I think you should just get a lot of Nigerians thinking about where we are about some of these issues.
Right. Thank you, Said Fuad. You're still on to trends in the papers on Miller 98.3 FM. We are going through and reviewing the pages of our dailies this morning. Away from that quickly, a tragedy from the reports this morning also is given that no fewer than 25 persons have been confirmed dead and about 23 others injured in two separate auto crashes along the Ogbomosho axis of Ilorin Jeba Expressway in Kwara State and the Ibadan Lagos Expressway in Ogun State as well. In the Kwara crash, it occurred along the Muslim cemetery on the Ogbomosho Okolowo route, Okolowo, I think. 17 persons, sustained varying degrees of injuries, including fractures, dislocations, and also bruises, while 16 others escaped unhurt. And also in Ogun State, about 6 persons were injured in separate crash at Shakwade Bridge along the Ibadan Lagos Expressway, with eyewitnesses in Kwara saying that the driver reportedly fell asleep while driving, which actually caused the truck to skid off the road and overturn. That's the reports we're getting from the Guardian newspaper. Away from that, I don't know if you have any reaction to that.
No, just again, we need to beg our drivers, especially the commercial bus drivers. The roads are slippery, the rains are heavy now. I think they should, at least if they don't value their own lives, they should value the lives of the passengers and their loved ones at home. Immediately we finished political roundtable on Sunday, we got a call that a serious accident had happened around Shakpade, or just about around the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, a place called Shakpade, and that there were a lot of casualties. That we should please help to call the emergency lines. Again, problem with emergency and rescue. Ogun State needs prayer, serious prayer, fasting and prayer. That God should help them just get a leader that understands what it takes to govern a state. They were all as far as Shakpade is, they were trying to call Lagos, the ambulances in Lagos, the rescue lines in Lagos, the emergency lines to come and help in Ogun State. They were calling. Imagine they were even calling a radio station in Lagos. Because there was nothing available around Ogun State that they could do to help their people, and they were called casualties. After yesterday, there also news that on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, early morning, there were serious multiple accidents with many casualties too. And you see that these reports have added some other parts of the country. Can we just, and a lot of them, if you check from the reports from the Road Safety Commission, that these things have happened as a result of recklessness from our drivers. And the sad part of some of these crazy drivers, once you begin to caution them, that's when they start the madness. They just increase the madness. Take it easy, before at that point the man just goes completely crazy. And the vehicles and the tires are not the best that you can ever get. The conditions of their brakes, I'm sure, is not the best that you expect for people moving around. But with all of that, they are still what if some of them, the situation of our garage, all these pelebe, all these substances are also a problem. We just have to beg our people. And I think this is where the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Road Transport Employers Association, the Road Safety, I think we might just have to start some form of sensitization. Again, to say, you know what, can you please just help the passengers? Think about your loved ones and stop the recklessness. Because a lot of times, from the report, these things happen as a result of overspeeding, reckless driving, and what have you. It's unfortunate.
It's quite unfortunate. Another unfortunate incident, right, of a medical student in Ukraine, died after sustaining injury or succumbing to the injuries that she sustained during a Russian strike in Ukraine. A 23-year-old Nigerian medical student, Marian Nani, who that was on Sunday, died after complications from the injuries during a Russian strike in Ukraine. And it was gathered that the attack occurred in Kharkiv, right, just days before she was reportedly due to graduate. A medical student in a national medical university, being injured after the Russian forces had struck districts with guarded aerial bombs, right? It's quite unfortunate. The Punch newspaper captured that. I mean,
we wish our parents and loved ones, we hope that they'll be able to really come out of this. Again, the effects of war is something you can never predict. And there are a lot of Nigerians who are studying in Ukraine, Lady Mo, especially when it comes to, I think, medicine and what have you. Not even in Ukraine, even in Russia. We just got the report of a Nigerian lady that got almost a perfect CGPA of 5. She got 4.9 CGPA. And that's from a medical school in Russia too. So I think in Rostov. But this is Ukraine, and unfortunately because of this war, this bright young Nigerian has lost her life, a medical student in Ukraine. I look at the situation of a war, this was a war that Putin had thought was going to be over and out in 3 months. You know that we are close to 5 years of this war.
Yes.
When Putin invaded Ukraine, I'm sure he had thought that in his 6 months I should be in Kiev. I should, he took Crimea without any resistance. It was almost like a joke. And I thought that was the thinking he had again, and look at where we are now. Right. People have lost their lives. As at the last count, close to 1 million people have lost their lives on this war. And 5 years down the line, there's no victory declared from any side. It's just getting, it's unfortunate, very unfortunate.
Quite unfortunate. Quickly, still in the Metro page of the Punch newspaper, you remember the Dapchi incident? For those that remember the Dapchi incidents in Yobe State.
The Dapchi school girls. The girls' school.
Yes. Now, the secretary to the Yobe State government, Mohammed Goje, had now disclosed that all the schoolgirls abducted from the Government Girls Science and Technical College in 2018 have regained their freedom, except Leah Sharibu, who remains in captivity due to the fact that he refused to denounce his religion, so to say. That's just the summary of the reports because of our time. But she is still in captivity, according to the Yobe State secretary to the government.
I think that situation was in 2018.
2018, so. Yes, 2018.
So if you look at 2018, how many years are we talking about?
About this 5 plus 2, that's 7, about 8 years, almost 8 years, because this is 2026.
Almost 8 years down the line. So if a commissioner is still saying, well, I'm sure Leah Sharibu parents will continue to remain hopeful that one day she's going to emerge from somewhere. Because she's not dead. There are no confirmation that she's dead. The only thing is that, because she refused to renounce her faith, these guys refuse to release her, even though these guys are just crazy, deranged, mad people. Because even in the Muslim faith, it is clearly there in the holy books that there is no compulsion to religion. No compulsion. You can't compel anybody to do your religion. It is even there. That is, the Alpha listening to me knows the chapter of the Quran I'm talking about. Where it clearly says that there's no compulsion in religion. People have the free will to do whatever they want to do. But these guys are just common criminals. And it's unfortunate that in Nigeria we've tolerated them to the point where they can begin to do things like this. I hope that one day we'll get a serious government that can really give them, what I call it decisive, blow. Wipe them out, take them out of existence completely, and let us have a safe country again.
Right. Quickly, away from that, the controversy that has been surrounding the alleged fake agency. I don't know why we keep saying fake agency, an agency that was established under Buhari. Maybe it was. It is fake.
We are saying the papers are saying it is fake because the government said it is fake.
Okay, we should hold on to that one. Because we've been able to trace the agency to Buhari's administration. He created the agency, and but it was not officially dissolved. when the present administration came on board, there was no official dissolving.
Dissolution,
and then they pick it up. I don't know, whatever. I don't know how fake is coming about.
But anyway, what is the report now? Where are we?
Well, we are here. They have gone to carry the father of the suspects, so to say, of the man, and the family friend that was with him when the officials went to carry the father. So, I don't know, maybe due to investigation, those SANs and legal practitioners are saying it's unlawful, right? Maintaining that the arrest would be unlawful if the father was himself it would be lawful if the father himself is a suspect or a person of interest in investigation. Right, but it's unlawful when you arrest someone that is not a suspect. He's not the person in question that you are referring in the case. So, anyways, there have been several reactions.
Lady Mo. So that I know because of time, there's just you see, sometimes when you look at Nigeria, and when I say Nigeria, we look at ourselves. It's not myself inclusive, everybody. You begin to ask yourself, Shaladusha. Hope we are not daydreaming, thinking that we are in 2026. Are you sure we are not in 1910? There's a way you think you are in 2026, and your reality is showing something completely different. Because these are things you see. Look, how do you explain this? How do you begin to have situations like this in what you call a civilized country? I said it to Lady say that even in Banana Republic, I am sure some of these things will never even happen in that country called Banana Republic. The figuratively speaking, Banana Republic is a lawless country. There's no law. Everybody's just doing anything anyhow. But as bad as it is in Banana Republic, I am sure that some of the things that we do here, the people living in Banana Republic will look at us and say, you have to try you. It's really you. Lady Mo. Okay, look what has happened. A man is said to be, has he even been declared wanted? This was a man that has been invited severally. He has been, from the reports, on one or two occasions granted bail. Right? The case is said to be in court. Right? Now, we only suddenly heard yet that the police went to Oshogbo, the father's house. They arrested his father and a friend of this guy who had come to visit the family. I don't even know why they did not even take the mother. Everybody and even take the house.
Everybody. It's a
Lady Mo. And like the senior lawyers have said, unless, because up till now, the police have not issued any official statement on this matter. We are just getting reports. Unless the man is a person of interest, the father is a person of interest. Why you know what they call substituted arrest? So the son committed the crime, you go and pick the father.
Placeholder.
It can only happen in Banana. I'm sure even in Banana Republic, maybe it will not be happening again.
Forward, we have to go.
Wait, 1 minute. If the son does not come up, if the man now does not show up, the son, what would they do with the father? They will keep him there, or they will take the father to court.
I really do know that. I'm particularly interested in how this unfolds. Sincerely, how all of this issue unfolds. But let's keep it.
And every time they do this, the more they do these things, the way they are handling this matter continues to indicate that there are people somewhere trying to hide something. There are people somewhere trying to play games on that, and it becomes more ridiculous the way. If the man does not show up now, they will take the father to court, Abi.
I don't know. Let's see.
What exactly are they trying to do?
Let's not Ḥģᴏ. Thank you, Said Fad. We have to go. We have to step aside. Our time is fast spent. We'll bring more updates as it unfolds. Thank you very much, Said Fad, for your time. And we'll be back for Mail and Focus. Good morning.